You can already get excited because in the next few years, there are going to be incredible movies for you to enjoy. Are you ready to experience the biggest adventures in cinema? Luigi and Daisy. What if the next movie in the Mario universe isn't about Mario, but instead about Luigi and Daisy? One of the complaints about the Galaxy animation is that there were too many things happening and none of them were really explored. We know that Princess Daisy is the next princess who will be introduced, but there's a problem with that. Daisy is much more connected to Luigi than to Mario. Everyone knows that, since Mario's princess is Peach. That's why we're betting with you that there will indeed be a Mario 3 movie against Bowser and his son Jr. But before that, we're going to watch Luigi meet Daisy during a visit to Sarasa Land, where the princess will need him to fight the alien villain Tatanga. The reason for all of this is simple. You can't fully develop all the main characters in this universe without making more movies focused on each of them. Do you agree with that? Want to see more about Luigi and Daisy? Get comfy and come with us, because another Cinewave is about to start. Saja Boys. Who here is ready to see Genu once again on Netflix and in theaters? You understand that K-pop Demon Hunters is one of the biggest animation hits of recent years, and we're still going to talk about the second movie that has already been confirmed, but now it's time to talk about the future Saja Boys movie, the K-pop boy group we see in the films. In other words, this movie should focus on the boys' backstory and how they ended up in the land of demons. Genu ended up abandoning his own family, which is why he became a servant of Guima, and of course the other boys, Abyss, Mystery, Romance, and Baby should also appear. Remember, this is probably a story that takes place before the first movie, so no Rumi or the other girls in this one. But who's going to be ready to dance with the Saja Boys? K-pop Demon Hunters. Still talking about this universe, the girls Rumi, Mira, and Zoe will be back in K-pop Demon Hunters 2. The movie has already been confirmed by Netflix and will enter production later this year to arrive in theaters in 2028. In other words, there's still more than a year to go, but making such a high-quality animation takes time. The girls will return to explain the points that were left unanswered in the first movie, such as, who is Rumi's father? Some people think he is the son of the King of Demons. And who will be Mira's and Zoe's love interest? Could they be among the Saja Boys? Will Genu come back? In this case, we already know the answer is yes, so you can relax because it's almost certain that we're getting at least 2 more movies from this universe. Hoppers 2. And if you think Hoppers won't get a sequel, you're very mistaken. Mabel will return to the mind of her beaver robot for a very important reason. The first movie in this universe made it clear that an animal can take over the body of a human robot and live like us. At the same time, the animals realize that being human has many more advantages. In other words, if you're human, you don't have to lose your territory to them. The new villain in Hoppers 2 will be an animal that became human. Who here is ready to see this adventure? Star Fox. Is it crazy to imagine that a Star Fox movie is in Nintendo's plans? Of course they're going to do it. Mario Galaxy made that very clear when it introduced the character Fox McCloud and even showed a scene telling part of his story. On top of that, did you notice that at that moment the movie switched from 3D to 2D? That's because the Star Fox movie will use that style. After all, why would the Mario Galaxy production go through the effort of changing the visual style if it wasn't to give us a preview of what the studio's next movie will look like? Mario 3. We already talked about the Luigi and Daisy movie, but now it's time to talk about Mario Sunshine, which is the next Mario animation. This will be the plumber's third adventure with Shadow Mario as the villain. For those who don't know, in Mario Sunshine, our hero is accused of being a villain and of spreading a strange goo across the Mushroom Kingdom. In the end, we discover that Shadow Mario is actually Bowser Jr. disguised as the hero, trying to ruin his reputation. Will this movie be good? Absolutely yes. Will Mario propose to Peach? Comment the hashtag Mario so we can get to know you. Minions 3. Minions 3 is also arriving in theaters later this year, and in this story, we go back to the 1920s, where villain henchmen will try to make a monster movie. Will that work? Of course not. That's exactly why it's going to be hilarious to watch Stuart, Kevin, and Bob try to direct a film. What a mess. Monsters, Inc. Pixar is making another Monsters, Inc. movie. This sequel, which is expected to hit theaters in 2029, is still a mystery on the internet. Everyone knows that at the end of the first movie, we discover that children's laughter produces more energy than screams. After that, we got Monsters University, a movie that takes place before the first story. So what will Monsters Inc. be about now? Most likely, we're going to get a boogeyman as the villain, making kids afraid of monsters again. In other words, it will be a movie where the characters need to win the children over. Who's excited? Shadow. What if we told you that besides Sonic 4, which is already confirmed, we're also getting a movie that puts Shadow as the main protagonist? This is really going to happen, and it's almost certain. Shadow also has his own game where he is the protagonist, facing the Black Arms, an evil alien race that invades Earth. The Shadow movie is going to be amazing, and that's exactly what we want. Now, the only question is, will it be a movie about Shadow in the past or in the present? Which one do you prefer?
Don't forget, subscribing is the easiest way to make sure you never miss any of our videos.
Forgotten Island. This September, we're going to discover the adventure of Joe and Risa, two best friends who end up on a magical island where unfortunately they risk forgetting each other. In this movie, the two of them will have to fight within their own memories, and this has the potential to be one of the best films of the year. What do you think? He-Man. And who here is ready to see the new adaptation of He-Man for the big screen? This movie tells the story of Prince Adam of Eternia, where the hero tries to return home and be remembered as the hero of the galaxy. It's a major classic from the 80s that is finally arriving in theaters, and we're betting it will be one of the best movies of 2026. What do you think? The Despicable. What if we told you that besides The Incredibles 3, we're also getting another movie set in the same universe called The Despicable, which focuses on the villains? Everyone really wants to know what the villain's point of view is in this series, especially since, as we've already explained in several videos here on the channel, the antagonists of The Incredibles are behind the Kronos conspiracy, the original plan to make superheroes illegal. Could a movie focused on the villains be the solution to this mystery? FNAF 3. FNAF 3 is definitely happening. The third game shows Mike going to a new horror-themed pizzeria where there are legends about Fazbear. The villain of the next movie, as shown in the post-credits scene, will be Springtrap, who is William Afton inside an animatronic. The puppet is also coming back because we see that she takes over Vanessa's body. That's right, you can expect it because FNAF 3 will be hitting theaters very soon.
Woody and Bo Peep. Can you believe we're getting a movie about Woody and Bo Peep?
This adventure needs to happen because of the story of Toy Story 5. Do you remember that in the fourth movie, Woody left to live alongside his girlfriend, but he comes back to help his friends? That means that, for a few years, Woody was out on the streets rescuing toys. And we need to see that story on the big screen. Gatto. Gatto is Pixar's next movie, set in Venice, where a black cat named Nero needs to pay off a debt he owes to a feline gang. It will be the studio's first movie made in 2D, and that's a huge challenge for Pixar since it goes against everything they've been doing since Toy Story 1. Will it work? We're betting yes. What about you? Donkey Kong. Nintendo has already made it clear that a Donkey Kong movie is going to happen, and as we saw, the gorilla is in New York causing chaos with the city's police. That definitely means we're going to get a movie set in the United States, not in the Gorilla Kingdom. Also, let's remember that Pauline is the mayor of New York in the movie universe, so the two of them are going to meet. Will it be a good movie? Rio 3. Rio 3 is a movie that should be officially confirmed soon. This animation was planned to be released more than 10 years ago, but unfortunately it didn't happen because Disney bought the studio that was making the movie and shut down the project. Now, with the return of Blue Sky and Ice Age 6, fans' hopes of finally seeing Rio 3 have come back to life. Who here is excited? Donkey. Did you know that Eddie Murphy, who is the original voice of Donkey, confirmed that we're getting a movie about this character from the Shrek universe? Nobody knows what it will be like yet, but you can already mark your calendar. After Shrek 5, there's even more coming from the world of the most famous ogre ever.
Enjoying it? Then click one of the two videos we left on the screen and keep going with us. See you next time!